For those of you spiritual girlies, free-spirited artist types who are worried about your money and worried about the economy, I wanted to describe to you what is happening and what will happen over the next 4 to 6 years. This is really peaking around 2028. So the US and the world at large is going through this emotional transition. And the emotional transition is from overgiving to alignment with the needs of the self. You're realizing that you've been overgiving for a period of time to the complete detriment of your health and well-being. And the earth is going through this too. She says, I have been overgiving of my resources, and I have now learned the lesson, and I am walking that back. And what that looks like is that there is a quiet revolt in each individual. And it says, I will no longer align with people pleasing. I will align with myself. And this will completely transform the economy because the economy is built on overgiving and people pleasing. This does not mean that we don't have abundance. It is that the structure is built in the dumbest way possible. And as a spiritual girly, you are already aligned with the principles that we are coming into, which is love, respect, relative equality, compassion. The transition to these principles is going to rock the economy. And it is happening slowly now, and it will happen faster and faster. Again, the spiritual girlies have gone through this lesson relatively early, so maybe up to 5 years preceding when everybody else is going through this, because you're more attuned and connected to the universal vibration than others. Anytime the energy wants to realign with the good of all rather than the good of the few, there is a revolt by the people who benefit from other people's labor. In the same way that when you are a people pleaser and you decide to start to set boundaries, the people in your life who benefit from your people pleasing will get very angry at you. What this looks like on a societal level is protest, but also much quieter forms of revolution, such as the unwillingness to work more, the formation of positive collectives, such as debt collectives, housing collectives, work collectives, spending collectives. All of this is just going to feel like a relief to you as a spiritual girly. It is going to feel like an alignment with how your insides are, versus the world that we live in now, which is a constant experience of misalignment for people like us. People who are invested in heavier forms of identity, such as career as identity or assets as identity, they're going to have a much harder time getting with the program. But the tides of so many people being unwilling to cooperate with the system anymore will be absolutely overwhelming. And you, as one person who is participating in the economy, will not feel like you have to do very much. And so the main thing that I want you to do is continue aligning with your best good, with your best amount of rest, with your most flowing type of work. Be heart-centered and do your best not to build up assets and identity that is centered in what is currently happening. So the more that you own houses and have bank balances, the more that you are going to have emotional resistance to the big changes that are coming. It's more that you should look day to day and month to month. Do I have money now? Great. I'll reevaluate next month. We are very much in a shifting sands kind of a situation, and it's going to be really hard to tell where your economic security is going to come from. So I suggest that you build your economic security in forms that cannot be valued by money, such as social supports. Money will always exist in some form. Money is not evil. But the entire system is going to go through a realignment towards more positive values for the good of all, especially against the extraction of resources from the earth and from people who are unwilling to give it. The resulting society, after a period of instability, will look like decentralized food systems, collective ownership of lands. Private property is not completely gone, but it feels like private property is more agreed upon. Less travel of all forms, air, water, overland, more localized connection of things, more diversification of everything. So the Amazon Prime of everything. And very broadly, less human suffering.